Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever or whenever you are. My name is Ben, and this is another platform tutorial, and boy does it feel good to say that because it has been a long time. And it's mostly because I came down with a case of strep, and then I had finals week, and then I got a pretty heavy cold. So I wasn't recording any videos, I didn't really feel my best, but I've done quite a bit of preparation on this video, so I hope it's a good one. I hope you enjoy it. It's another platform tutorial. Only this one's better because my first platform tutorial video that I did, when I watched that one, it makes me cringe because I would not do a platform video like that anymore, or a platform game like that anymore, I should say. I would recommend doing it like this. So let's jump right into the code so we're not wasting a lot of time. Let's create two sprites. We'll call this one sprite player, and we'll just make this our lovely block that is going to be white in this case because I just feel like doing it white. And then we're going to make a solid object. Well, it's not a solid object, a solid sprite. Object, or let's see, sprite, solid. That's a good way of putting it. And we're going to make this one black. And we're going to center the player sprite, but not the solid sprite. Now let's create two objects, and we'll call this one object solid. Set it to the solid sprite, and we are done with that. Don't actually click solid. We're not going to make it solid. Okay, and it's a misleading name, I know, but object player. And we're going to give that our player sprite, assign the player sprite to it, and we're going to start by adding an event, a create event, coming over into control, dragging over a code, and this is going to be initializing variables. And we're going to create some variables called grav equals 1, speed equals 4, jspeed, which is going to stand for jump speed, equals 12, hspeed equals 0, and vspeed equals 0. Make sure I spell all those right. Awesome. So these are some variables that we're going to use. We don't want to use the built-in variables like gravity because we're going to manipulate these on our own, and it just works better. This is partially some stuff that I've learned on my own and some stuff that I learned from Sean. So let's add a step event now. And inside this step event, we're going to write some code. And I'm going to just write out most of this code and then explain it to you. So right after. So the first thing we want to do is get inputs. Var rkey equals keyboard check vk right. That is not how you spell keyboard. Now we're going to do var lkey equals keyboard check vk left. Var jkey equals keyboard check pressed vk up. So this is just getting input from the user, and we're storing them in local variables. The var here means that this variable can only be used inside of this script. But the nice thing is now whenever we want to check if they're pressing the right key, we can just do if rkey instead of typing out keyboard check every time. So it's a little bit faster and still relatively easy to understand. The first thing we're going to do though is calculate let's see, well, it's more like check if we are on the ground. And we're going to do if place meeting x, y plus 1, so that's going to be down, right? Object solid. In the parentheses, and tab over. We're going to set the v speed equals 0. So if we're on the ground, vertical speed equals 0 because we're on the ground, right? We don't need to move. So now we're going to do jumping. And this is going to be if j key v speed, and I spelled that wrong again. That's what yeah, this is the second time I've made that video and I spelled that wrong last time, so I'm watching this time. I'm not gonna mess it up. J speed. Okay. If v speed equals negative j speed. Negative because that's the up direction in the y-axis. And then we're gonna just end this and check if we're on the ground. And we're gonna do else. So if we're not on the ground, we want to start doing gravity, right? So gravity, and we're just gonna do if grav no, let's see, not grav. If v speed is greater than, no, less than 10 v speed plus equals grav. And we should just be able to end there. So what this does, checks if we're on the ground. If we aren't on the ground, set the vertical speed to 0. And since we're on the ground, we want to check for jumping, because we don't want to be able to jump in the air. So if we are on the ground and they press the jump key, jump. If we aren't on the ground, start moving down with the gravity. So pretty simple. Now we're going to do moving right and left. So moving right is just going to be if r key h speed equals speed. Easy enough, right? If L key, this is left, h speed equals negative speed, so we want to move to the left because negative is to the left. We're going to do another one. This is check for don't move. Well, check for not moving. I don't know how to word that. So if, and I'll do a double parentheses for this one, if they're not pressing the R key and they're not pressing the L key, or parentheses, if they're pressing the R key and they're pressing the L key. So what that does is if they're pressing both keys at the same time, we don't want to move, and if they're not pressing either key, then we don't want to move. So pretty easy. H speed equals 0. Okay, that's done. Now we've only got to do one more thing. We've got to create a script, and we're going to call, the reason I'm doing this as a script, this is the collisions, and the reason we're doing it as a script is because it makes it easier to use this with other objects. Maybe you have enemies or whatever that you need to also calculate collisions with, and they can use this same script. So that's the benefit of it. You can not have to write that same code multiple times. Write it once, use it tons. That's the way you want to do it. So script, move, collide, and this script is going to, we're going to describe what the script is like with 3 comments, like this. And we're going to have an h speed, a v speed, and a collide object. So those are the arguments we're going to pass into this script. And the script is pretty easy. Var h speed equals argument 0, var v speed equals argument 1, var collide object equals argument 2. And you can see each one of these is represented up here and here. So h speed, h speed. So when they pass in the h speed value, so it could be 1 or whatever, that's going to be, argument 0 is going to be set to 1, so we're just going to pass it right back to another variable that's local called hspeed. So we can only use these variables inside of this script right here. That's their scope. Now we're going to do horizontal. This is probably the most complicated part of this tutorial, so I'm going to just write it out and then we'll go over it together. So if place meeting x plus hspeed y collision object while not place meeting x plus sine hspeed y collision object x plus equals sine hspeed. And then after that we do hspeed equals 0 and we're done. Only move the object horizontally. I probably spell stuff wrong all the time. X plus equals hspeed. Okay, let me explain this code. This is our vertical or horizontal collisions. So if place meeting to the right, well, if place meeting horizontally at the speed we're moving. So if we're going to the right and we're moving at a speed of 4, right, because that's our speed, over to the right, if there's an object there, then we know that we need to move, we need to contact that object, right? There's an object close enough. If we were to just move there, then we would move inside the object potentially, and that would be bad. So what are we going to do? We're going to check while not place meeting, so while we're not touching the object. That's essentially what this says. While you're not touching the object, move over 1 pixel at a time until you touch the object. Once you touch the object, set your horizontal speed to 0 again to make sure that you don't move into it. Then this right here is crucial, that this has to be after our collision check. We cannot put this code before this code, okay? After we've checked for collisions, then we can move, okay? So that's how that works. And the vertical one is going to be exactly the same. In fact, I'm going to copy this and paste it down here and change stuff. So instead of x plus h speed, it's going to be y plus v speed. And instead of x plus sine h speed, it's going to be y plus sine v speed. And instead of x plus equals sine h speed, it's y plus equals sine v speed. V speed equals 0. And y plus equals v speed. Now another crucial thing is that this whole code right here absolutely has to be before this code right here for the collisions to work properly on corners. So we want to give x priority on corners over y. So that's what we're doing here. And I think this should be good, except that I spelled speed wrong here. And I'm going to double check that because I have a tendency to do that, and I did it in the last video and it was a pain. So awesome. Now let's just create our room. That's this. No, that's the background button. Wow. Rookie mistake. Created a background instead of a room. So we're going to create our room, and we're going to call this room test. And I'm going to give it a background color just so you guys can see a little better. And I'm going to put these objects in here. Make some sort of a platform game maybe, you know, like Mario. I love platform games. And we'll put our little player in here as well and make sure everything works. So we'll run the game. And I really hope this works. I don't want to be debugging this. So let's see. Hopefully I spelled everything right this time. Oh, I'm not even moving down. Oh, now I know why. Okay, so come into your player, come into the step event. We forgot to actually use our script. We wrote the whole thing and then didn't even use it. So come at the very end of the step event, we're going to call script move collide. You can see it even has the little helper down here telling us what arguments to put in. So we're going to do h speed, v speed, and then we're going to call this object solid, because that is the object that we want to have collisions with. Now we're going to run this one more time, and hopefully this time it'll work. Looks like I got an error, and that's actually a good thing. Oh, it's because I put collision object. It should be collide object. So come into the script collide here, and everywhere it says collision object, we just want to change that to collide object. That is my bad. Okay, simple enough. Or I guess it would have been easier to change the one spot that it said collide object to collision object, but whatever. You can see now we have a working platform example, and this, I have tested it and I cannot find any glitches with this platform example at all. It seems to be really, really solid. Collisions work great, and it's just nice and clean. So thank you guys for watching this video. I have my Facebook and Twitter accounts and Tumblr in the description. You can follow me on those. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you thumbs up this video as well. And I will be bringing you guys more videos, better like this one with better coding practices, and just this is the way to do a platform game for basics. This is basic stuff, but it's solid basics. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.